Hey, this is Nyakum. Welcome to OB Studios. The goal of today's video is to answer a quick question. Can you build a landing page designed in Figma with Bricks Theme Builder? Is it possible to make it pixel perfect? In my opinion, the answer is yes. With Bricks Theme Builder, we can quickly create a landing page that was originally designed in Figma. In other words, Bricks Theme Builder is like a bridge between Figma and WordPress. It makes it easy to build WordPress websites from Figma designs. At the end of today's video, you'll learn how to create a header, a footer, hero section, features, and testimonial using Bricks Theme Builder. So this is our Figma design that we are going to use today. We have our colors up here. We have also our type also up here. Let's get into WordPress and then start developing the website. All right, so as you can see, I already created this website. So I'm going to start again from scratch. I'm going to create the headers that we need and then the footers first. So before we go in there, I want to show you the media. So we already have our media imported and then also our font. For you to add fonts to your Bricks Theme Builder, you hover on your bricks and then you'll see custom fonts. Over here, you'll be able to add new fonts that you want to use for your design. So as you can see, I've already added fonts over here, so I'm not going to do that anymore. I've also imported my assets that I need, so I'm not going to import the assets anymore. Our next thing is to deal with our headers. So for you to build a header, you have to go to template and then start laying out your header and your footer. There's my old headers that I already created. I'm not going to touch them, so I'm just going to create a new one and call this main header. After adding that, you want to go to your template type and then select a header and then publish it. After publishing, you click on Edit with Bricks. All right, so in here is where we're going to lay out our header. First, we're going to have a section. So we're going to create a section. So the section is going to have a container within it. But before we even start doing that, I want to save this and then click on this cog icon, and then we're going to set up our theme styles. So over here, we're going to create a new theme style. So what is a theme style? A theme style is what, in normal sense, it is sort of, you might call it a sort of a class, but it's not class. If you want to use classes in Bricks, you can do that. But a theme style dictates how your theme looks like on a basic level. So what we're going to do is to start laying out our theme style. So we're going to create a new one and call this Bricks. Let's call this Figma. Let's call this Figma-to-Bricks. All right, so after naming that, we just click on Create. So the next thing that we're going to do is add our conditions. Where do you want this to show? So we want it to show on the entire website, excluding. Okay. Okay, so we're going to exclude it from the front page. The reason why I'm going to exclude it from the front page is because the front page already has a design applied to it. So I chose front page and I clicked on exclude. So it's going to exclude the very front page of our website. So the next thing that we're going to do, we've applied our conditions to where we want our theme style to show. If you don't add your conditions, your styles are not going to show. The next thing is go to general, and inside general, we want our website to be wide. That is good. We want to set a site background. So what we're going to do is go into our Figma style, and then click on the design that we have here. And then this is the color that we need for the background. So over here, I'm just going to choose and then click on colors, remove. I'm going to remove that. So that is the old one. So I'm going to set a new color palette over here. So when I click on this, create color palette, you can give it a name, call it Figma-to-Bricks, and then we click on create. So now we've created our new color palette. Let's start adding some colors. So there's the color that we just brought in for the background. We just click on save. Save the color. Okay, I need to put in all right, so that is not working for whatever reason. I'm just going to leave this over here like that, but saving the color. All right, I'm going to try again. I'm going to put this over here. All right, so now we've been able to save our color for our background. The next thing that we're going to do is we're not going to touch anything for light box or anything like that. We're not going to use a light box in this. The next thing is our other colors, right? The other colors that we're going to use. My primary color is going to be, go back to our Figma design. We need a primary color. So I'm just going to go in here and then pick this color. So this is going to be our primary color. So I'm going to set this. And then I'm going to save it, add it to our palette. So anytime I click on save, it's being added to this palette called, I think I need to fix the name here is Figma. Yeah, so it's going to add it to this palette. I already have an old palette here called banking color, but I'm not going to use it. I'm creating a new one. So I'm adding it to these colors, as you can see over here. So that's our primary color. The next thing I'm going to do is to add the rest of the colors that I have from the design. Just this. So then you just click on save, go to that. So now we've added all our colors to our palette. So now our palette is full. We don't have to, I'm not going to assign any of these colors because I really don't use them. I'm just going to assign a primary color, change this one to that. Good. The next thing is to go to content right now. Okay, not content, typography. So our type is going to be our body type. Color is going to be that. And then I'm going to set this in to be 18. Let's go back into Figma, right? And then let's look at, because these are the paragraphs that we have. But I'm going to go in here and then find what inspect, and then under inspection you have 18 and 30. So for the body, you want the font family to be the one that we uploaded, which is man rope. Change this one to 400, and the font style to normal. Line height to a 30. Make sure you change this one to pixels, or it's going to choose something else. So that is that for that. For the body, all our headings is going to have a 42. Go back into Figma. So these this heading over here is 42,852. So a 42 for font size. You want font family to be the one that you uploaded. You want to make sure this is right. So 800, no 600, 800, and then the line height, you want that to be 52, but make sure that you choose pixel. All right, make this normal. You want color what color are they using? Okay, they're using 26. So you want to change this color to this very one. So that's the color for all the heading. H1 heading, which is this very one, which is H1, is 72. So we want to make sure that our H1 is a white. It's a 72. Line height is 80. Font weight is let's choose 800. Font family, make sure you choose the right one, which is this. Everything else is good. Then you want your line height to also be 80. The line height is 80, but make sure this one is in pixel as always. I'm going to do another one for H2. So H2 is going to be the same thing, but as you can see, H2 probably, you already said this, but I'm still going to set this one to H2. So make this into this very color, and then set this one to 42. Font family, to robe 800, and then you want to change the line height to normal line height to 52 pixels. All right, we can go in and then make the last one, but I'm really not going to do that. The next thing, okay, there's more like paragraphs, paragraph. All right, so I think this two should be okay, and then we already set a paragraph for this or this heading. I think we choose a body. So over here that we have 18, we're going to use that for the other paragraphs. Let's look. Is there anything else that we want to change? Okay, I want to fix that. So a section should be, okay, we're going to leave this like that. Section should always be viewport of 100. That is good. Container. The normal container should have a width of, let's see what this container. Okay, so this one is bound to, all right, everything is following the heading line over here, and this is 1170. So go back into the design and then set, I'm going to set my container to 1170 like that. So that should be good. Height, we're going to leave height. We're not going to touch anything else over there. Buttons, button. Background color. All right, so I'm not going to touch button. I'm just going to change this one to an 18. Probably not touch that. How many buttons do we have? Okay, I'm not going to touch this button. I'm going to leave it like that because I don't think the button has enough. I know there is like success and other thing like that, but I'm going to touch on buttons later because there's a little issue when it comes to button that I might need to fix, which we haven't gotten there, but it is something that I need to do. All right, so we have basically finished with our theme style, how we want our theme to look like. We have our colors, and then we have our types already set. We have a little sections and other stuff also set. So over here, we're going to deal with our header. Go back into Figma. So we have, I'm not going to use more than two containers in here, or two divs. Right, so we have our main section, which is this. We want to make sure that we have the size correct. So you can see that there's a pattern at the top, which is 36. So we want to click on the section and then go to style, and then in layout over here in pattern, we want to give a top pattern of 36. The next thing that we're going to do is that we're going to set this container a certain height. The height is 48. So we're going to give the container a height of 48. Right now you don't see it because we don't have any content inside. But as soon as we add the content, you're going to see that this one is going to align with the 48 height. Go back to the section, and then we can leave it over here. All right, now let's start adding our images and other stuff like that. We want to add a logo. So add a logo, and then click on the logo, go to content, and then pick the logo that you want. I'm using this logo over here. The next thing is to add a menu. So let's type in menu and then add this. If you haven't already set your menu, you can do that by going to appearance, go back to the back end of your website, go to appearance and click on menu. And then you can add your new menus over here. I already set up my menu. You can put a name, and then you can just start adding your menus here. All right. So there's the menu that I'm using. I'm going to choose main menu. I'm not going to touch anything yet. The next thing to add is we're going to add a div. I'm going to add a div inside for the buttons. So when you go back into the Figma design, you have like these buttons over here. I'm going to use a container to group a div to group both of them. So add a div, and then inside the div, I want to add button. So 2 buttons. I'm just going to duplicate this. All right. So that is, as you can see, it is not perfectly done. So let's go into the container, right? And then inside the container, we want to change the direction of the container into a row. All right. So the row, now we're going to make sure that the alignment on the axis is spaced in between, so that it will hit the side and side of the container. And we want everything to be centered nicely like that. The next thing that we're going to do, remember that this container is 17, it's 1170, so we don't have to add any pattern on the left or right. So we're going to leave this like that. All right, so now we're going to start our heading. So what we're going to do, make sure that our we're going to start our header. So make sure our header is selected like that. The next thing that we're going to do is to add, it's a start style in it. So we're going to use margins for this. So we're going to put 0 margin here. So it's going to affect everything over here. We want the left part of our margin to be a 50, because that is what we have for our design. So that will be that for this. Probably, why not make this 0 and then make the right part right at 50. So that should be okay. Okay, so the next thing is, you can see that this very one has highlighted in that color. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to make sure that when we highlight on a menu like this, we have the color changed to the color that we want. So for you to do that, you have to go into your hover state. For you to enable hover state, you click on this so that you have a pseudo class for hover. And then when you do that, a lot of things change. So we're going to change this very the typography. We're going to change the color to this. All right, that should be good. Let's go back into our normal state and then change the color of the typography to a white. And then also we want to make sure that the font size is correct for 18. Yeah, and I think that should be good. Let's save this, right? All right, so now we've been able to do our hover and other stuff like that. Going back into our design. So there's the color that you're using for the heading. Which color is that? You're using this. So we want to go back in here and then make sure that we have the right. Okay, so this is the color for the heading over there. So that is good. The next one is to do our buttons. I'm going to remove this style away. And then the first text over here is login. So login should have no style at all. It should have like a 0 pattern all around it. That is good. And then we click on this, and then we want to change this one into sign up. So that is sign up. Remove the style. And then over here, we want to go back into the Figma design and then find out what is the style in here. Okay, so you have 9 top, 9 bottom, and then you have 30 on the side. All right, so pattern 9 bottom. All right, so I'm just gonna move this, and then here is it 30, right? Yeah, 30. So 30 here, and then 30 here. Okay, that should be good. And then we're just gonna give it radius. We need to add a radius to that. So let me still select that. Make sure that our radius is 4 pixels. Close this so we can find border, and then over here you want your radius to be 4 pixel. So 4 pixel radius, you want your radius to be a solid and then have a width of 1, and then we're going to change the color. All right, I need to find that as a color that I think I am missing. Go back into our Figma design, and over here I want to select this. Okay, go back to the design and then find this color. Okay, this very color here, F9. Make sure that I have it in my palette. Is it 9F9? All right, so I already have that, so I'm going to choose that color for the, so that will be for the border, and make sure that here you have 1. And then we want to change our background color. So our background color is going to be, it's not going to have any background color. Going back into our Figma design, we have a background color selector, which is this 45. All right, so we have a background color. So go back into background, and then over here you want to change the color to the one that has 45. Okay, not that. All right, so I want to go back in and then copy that color because I don't think I have it. So let's save. We are saving it to our Figma-to-Bricks theme. So I already chose. All right, so that will be a 45 on that for that very color. And then we have our border on it. And then we want to go back into our content, and then over here, okay, back to our style, and then change typography. You want our typography color to be a white, like that. What is the size of this? Inspect. Size of the font is 16, so we want to change this one to 16. The weight is 600, so you want to change this one to a 600 weight. Font is font size, just normal. We can leave everything like that. I think what I'm going to do is duplicate this again, and then delete this very one, and then click on this, and then go back to content, and then click on login. Make sure that the L is capitalized. Go to style, and then in style, I want to remove here. Make sure that everything is a 0. And then on background, I also want to remove this background color, remove the border too. All right, that should be fine. And then I'm just going to save it. That should be good. We need structure template. All right, so this template is sec template. All right, so what I'm going to do is delete this very old header, so that we have this new header inheriting what we have. I'm also going to delete this footer. All right, that should be good. I'm just going to save this again and then just refresh. All right, go back in here and then refresh. Let's refresh this page. All right, so this is our header. So when we hover, we have this hover thing on top. So the next thing that we're going to do is we are done with this very header. Make sure that everything. All right. We're going to make one more change. Click on the section, and then under the style, we want to have a on the bottom, we want to have a negative margin of, let's say 86. What is this? Is 36 and this is 48. So calc 36 plus 48 is 84. All right. We can make that even a 90. Okay, let's make it pixel. So 84 should be good. So we have 84 for our bottom. So when we go back into our design and then we add, so this is our design page. I'm going to add a section here. And then I'm just going to save that and then refresh it. So they consider the section as underneath our header, but we have to add a z-index to our header section so that it will be on top. Give this a 99 z-index and then save that. Go back to our design and refresh this. All right, so over here, we want to start designing our page. What we're going to do is to give this a style, a background color. Our background color is this, right? Let me just make sure. What is our background color? Okay, 26. Okay, so that's our background color. So that's good. All right, go back into the header. I think that we left one more thing over here. We want to give, make sure that this is flex, and then give it a row. Okay, it's 37. So we want to make this 37. No, it should be a column. 37. So the space between the sign up and the login is like that. So let's look at our Figma design for the header. So this is what we have, and this is what we have. So we are very close to how this looks like. The next thing is to start creating our hero section. So we are already in our page, the page for our design. If you don't know how to create a page, you have to go back to your dashboard. Click on pages and then create a page. So we created this page, give it a name, and then we published it, and then we edit with bricks. All right, so we have our section already here. So this is our section, and then our section has a style applied to it of this background color. The next thing is to give our section a height. So go to our Figma design and select this one. You can see that the height for this is 762. So our section is selected. Go to layout, and then for height, you want 762. So that is good. So click on our container, and then inside our container, we want to make sure that our container has a height of 100%. So it is inheriting whatever heights that our section has. So inside the container, we want to add 2 divs that is going to hold. So going back to our Figma design, so there's one div and then there's the other div. So let's add 2 divs inside that container. So click on this plus icon and then put in div number 1 and then div number 2. All right, make sure that our container is in a row so that the divs will be over there. Now let's see the side. Okay, so this is 470 for our first div. Go to style, make sure you give this one 470, and then go to our next div. This one should be 570. So over here, you want to give it a 570. All right, click back on our container and go to our content and make sure that with the alignment, you want everything to be spaced in between so that we have a gap over here, just like how they have a gap over here. We want to have that gap too. Go back to our container as selected, and then we line everything in the middle like that. All right, so we are almost there with starting our design. Let's start adding our text. So go back here, select our first container, and then you want to add heading text, and then you want to add a normal, let's say a basic text. The next thing is a form. So let's type form over here and then just add a form like that. All right, so we are almost there. Click on the second div, and then we're going to add an image. So we added an image there. So we are just laying out our content. After that, we're going to start styling it. So there's our image and there's that. The next thing is to start adding our content over here. All right, so we're going to change this from H3 to H1. One thing that I didn't do yet was, if you remember from the beginning, we started putting up theme styles. One thing in bricks is that after you do that, you have to add it to like your page. So this page, you have to go in here and then choose bricks to Figma. So that is what I didn't do. That's why our styling wasn't working from the beginning. So I'm going to go in here and then remove this very thing. So now you can see that the styling is enabled. So that's one thing that I didn't do, which I should have done. So the next thing is this. So this should be, what color are they using for this? Okay, the D7. Let's copy the text over here. All right, cool. This is a paragraph. All right. I just want to make sure that it is the. Okay, it looks like I didn't copy that color yet, so I'm just going to copy this again. I don't have D7 over here. All right, so I'm adding another color to this for our font, for our normal text. I'm just going to save it. All right, so I have that selected now. I'm going to make sure that our styling is correct. It should be, the size is an 18. And then you want to give this a weight, I think a weight of 400. Yeah, I think everything else is set. Line height, you want to make sure this is in pixels, and give it a 30, and that should be good. All right. Next then is to start with this form. Forms in Bricks it's a little work. I don't know why, but it's a little work. I'm removing the things that I don't need. I don't need messages. I don't need name. I just need the email field and then the button. All right. So first and foremost, we're going to give this 50 for the width of the field for the email, and then for our button, I'm going to go to button, and then for the width of the button, I'm going to give this a 40. All right, so that should be good. Here you want to request a demo. I'm going to copy that and then just put it over here. Request a demo for the text. All right, so that is that. Let's start giving these things colors. As you can see, this one has go back to the field and then the typo, the placeholder text. Go back over here and then change this one to this text. So we change the placeholder text over here. We don't need a label, so we're not going to show labels. What we also need is make sure that the field, the border for the field is, all right, so this is 18 top, 18 top and 18 bottom. So I think that is big, too big. Going back to pattern. So I think that is too big, but let's put it there so you can see. So 18 here and then 18 there. All right, so it looks like it's fine. And then 18 on the left. All right, that is really not going to do anything. I think the spacing. Okay, so this, you see this space here? I'm going to give it a 0. We don't want any space over there. Everything should be a 0. Now we're going to work on styling this a bit more. Background color should be what? What is the background color? Okay, background color is a 45. So make sure, okay, is this color? That's nice. The next thing that we're going to do is to give it a radius. So going back over here, radius is 8 pixels. So make sure that our radius should be at the border, and then give it this a radius of 8 pixels. So now we have a really nice radius, and we want a border, so make it a solid. We have a border, right? Yes. So our border is a gradient, but we are not going to use, we can't set a gradient normally here. We need a code to do that. We are not going to touch any code. So let's give this 1, and then make sure that it's applied to the entire thing. Then give it a color of this. All right, that should be good. Okay, so this is our button. We want to make sure that the button has no what you call it. It doesn't have any border on it, so I'm going to remove that. Now we're dealing with our button. All right, so we want the color of the button to be white. Oh, it is white. Let's just select that and make sure it is white. Yeah, so the button is white. We want the background to be a gradient. We cannot set a gradient normally to backgrounds here, so we're not going to touch any code, so we're not going to do that. But let's add, we're going to add this one, this very one to the right, which is F3. So let's look for F3, F3. All right, so we don't have F3 here, so I'm just going to copy this color and then come back, go back into our design, and I'm going to add this one to our palette. So yeah, some of the colors, you just keep adding them as you go. So that's going to be that. As you can see that there's no space in between this, but we're going to fix that by going to, I think, fill, and then make sure that it's set up like that. So we are almost done with this. The next thing is to make sure that this whole thing comes a bit down here so that it will be the same size as that. For you to do that, you don't have, I tried looking for a way to do it through the form. It doesn't seem to be a way to do it from here, which I don't really know. I think it's not really appropriate for you not to be able to style the button over here. For you to do that, we have to go back into our settings and then go to our theme style and then go to look for button. All right, so button here, we have like default styles and other stuff like that. But I'm going to use what they have here called like the small and other stuff. I'm going to say large, right? On large, we want to make sure that the pattern here, everything here is set to pixel correct like that. I'm going to give this 18. All right, let's save this and then go back to our design, click on this design. And then when you go to the submit button, you want to change this, remove that, and then put large. So as you can see, now the styling is coming. Go back into our design, go to button, and then you can see that 18 is pretty much too big. So let's put this to like 15, right? But you want to make sure. All right, that is nice. On the side, this one can be anywhere between like 35. But this is not big enough for you to be able to do all of that. Let's go back into this. The size of this is 16. So going back into our design, click on our design, and then in the type for the button, we want to change this one to 16. All right, that is good. Go back into our settings, go back to the theme, and then go back to where we have the large, and then start. Okay, you can say that is 35, and then on the left too, you can give that a 35. That is too big, so let's make this a 30, and let's make this also a 30. That should be fine. And then let's start pushing this to like 25, and then push this one to also 25, a bit more, 26, 26, 28, 28. Let's give this like a 30. 30. All right. So that should be that for this form. So for me, that is the way that I found to be able to create this as easy as possible. As you can see, this is clusters together. We're going to give it a bit of spacing. Let's change this one to flex, make them into a column, and then in the column gap and the row gap, we want to give this a 20, right? But going back to our Figma design, you can see this has a bit more space, so that's a 38. So we're going to click on the form, go to style, layout, and then for the top margin, I'm going to add an extra 18 to give it that 38. That should be good for this. All right, let's go back into our design and make sure that this is well done. All right, so what is inside here has what? This. So go back into our form, and then when we go back into the content, we're going to go into the placeholder, change the color for the placeholder to, what is it, 83. Do we have an 83 here? Okay, we don't have an 83 here, but I'm not going to add this to our palette. I'm just going to add it like this normally without adding it to the palette. All right, so I think we are done with that. The next thing is to add our image. So our first image is going to be the banking card. So we add our banking card. What to do next is to add this gradient that you have over here. How do you do that? So the way that you can achieve, there are a lot of ways that you can achieve this, but what I'm going to do is to click on the section, and then in the section I'm going to add blocks, right? So this block, one block, probably a block is not the best thing to do, but let's see what's going to happen. And then with the block, I'm going to add 180 for the width, sorry, 128 for the width, and then 128 for the height. I'm going to set a color. So go to background color, set a color of F9. So that's the first color. And then I couldn't find a way to blur this whole section, this block. I couldn't find a way to do this. So I'm going to add, this is the only CSS that I think I should add. So let's go to root, and then let's close our root. And then here we're going to add a filter. And then in the filter, I'm going to give it a blur, and then open a bracket, and then give it like 100 pixel blur. I spelled the blur wrong. All right, so that is one way to do this. Add so why we use the root is according to bricks. So you want to add root so you can target the main container or the block that you're using. So this is that. What we want to do is go back into our design. Is around, we have from the top to here is 270. So we're going to go back into, so still the block is selected, go back into layout, and then change this one to absolute position. And then at the top, you're going to give it 270. So that is 270 to the top. The next one that we're going to do, so we're just going to duplicate this, and then change the background color to a green. So click here and then click on this green. So that is that. What we want to do is to make sure that this is all the way at the bottom. To do that, so let me put this below here. All right, so this should be at the bottom. And then in the layout, you want to remove that, put the bottom here at 0. And then the right, I'm going to change this one to percentage and place this one at around probably 75, negative 75. All right, probably 15 or 25. Let's preview this and see. All right, that's good. Okay, so that is perfect. What I want to do is to make sure that this container has a Z index of 5 so that it will be on top, so that this thing wouldn't go all the way and block it. So this is what we have for our hero section. Go back into our Figma. So there's the hero section that we have in our Figma, and that's what we've been able to do. We're going to create a gradient using blocks, and then we have this also over here. So we are done with our hero section. We're going to start going through this fast a bit. So the next one is to add another section that's going to be for this very one. So add a section, And then in the section, make sure we have a text. All right, so make sure we select our container and then add in the text block for the heading, and then also add a basic text. So this text block should be 470. So make sure you select the text block. You can just select the container and then give it 470. And then make sure that everything within that container is perfectly aligned like that. Click on this text and then let's add our text in here. Go to style, and then in typography, make sure you center this. Click on that. Let's copy this text. Over here, we want to change our content to what we have. Go to style, and then in style, you want to change this to all through that. All right, we want to give our section, we want to give it a padding top. I'm giving everything a padding top of 90. So go over here, and then the padding top is a 90, and the bottom is a 90. I don't think this is consistent. Whatever space that we have over here is not good enough. So I'm going to give it a 90 top and 90 bottom, and then click on our container, and then also go into content and make sure that our row has a 20 pixel gap between each element. So that is for this section. Pretty easy to do. We're going to add our next section that is going to contain this image. All right, so go in here and then click on section, and then this container, we're going to add an image like that. Add an image. All right, select an image, go to select, and then let's put in this banking thing. That's perfect. Click on our container and then make sure that everything is centered. That should be good. Click on our image and make sure this is full. So to cover the entire, because it has to align with this. So everything is aligned perfectly like that. We're going to click on our section. Then make sure you go to style, top of a 90, bottom of 90. All right, so since I'm applying this to all sections, what I'm going to do is to assign it through our theme style. Go to section, and then padding 90 top, 90 bottom. All right, but when you do that, it starts affecting this very one. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to just leave it like that and apply it manually. Okay, that was a good trick, but I shouldn't have done that. All right, so as you can see, we have this section laid out. All right, so let's start dealing with this. So in these sections, from here to this very one, I'm going to use one section and use 3 containers. So let's go in and add another section. So this container is going to be for this very one. Let's lay it out. We need an image element and then a div. So let's add an image and then let's add a div. All right, make sure that we select our container again, go to content, make sure this is horizontal, and then make a space in between. All right, that's good. Click back to our container, center everything. Click on our image, select image, go here on the yellow one. So first image selected, make sure that it's full, and then click on our div and let's start adding. All right, so since this and that, this very one is the same thing as we have here, I'm just going over here, copy that, come here, paste it, go here, copy that, come here, and then just paste it over here. Click back on the style and make sure this is aligned, or you can just remove the alignment so that to go back to the default. Okay, that should be good. What we need next is to make sure that this div is 470. So select the div, go to layout, and make sure the width is 470 like that. All right, let's change the text over here. Paste it, copy, paste it. All right, click the div and make sure that we change this to flex, make it into a column. Everything can be the same, and then just give this 20 pixels so you have a nice space in between. Give the top 90 pixel. You can give the bottom also 90 pixel. We're going to duplicate our container. So duplicate this container. Duplicate that container too. We have like 3 containers in here. All right. And between, click on this section, go back to content. Over here, we want to change this to a 90 like that. And then within the containers, the one in the middle, we want to make sure that the div is first and then the image is second. All right, and then let's start changing our text. So change this text, click on this image. This should be the green one. So that is for that. The next one, change this text. This one should be a red. So pick that. Change the heading to. All right, so we've been able to create this really fast by just duplicating this, making sure that it is well. All right, so that this should be good. I'm going to remove the pattern at the top because we have one over here, so we don't want to duplicate it. All right, let's make another section, a section for this one. This one's going to take a bit of time, but it should be fun to create. All right, so section, go over here and then add a new section. The layout is pretty much, it's kind of funny, but it is achievable. All right, I'm going to give this a certain height. A height of 730. So our section is selected, go to style, and then for height, we have 730 for the height. That is nice. Make sure we click on our container, and then make sure that container's height is in percentage. So it has 100%. What we need to do now is to make sure that our width is also 100%. Because I want this to occupy the entire width. So inside our container, we are going to have one block. So go in here and then click on a block like that. And then within this block, we're just going to give it this gradient fill. All right, so click on the block, and then in background, you want to go to gradient and then select background, and then select color. Our first color is going to be this. Our second color is going to be that. All right, so that is good. Make sure we have the height of this correct, 258. So go to layout, click on block, go to layout, and then make sure that the height is 258. 258. So that is nice. Okay, so we've been able to do that. What we are going to do next is to click on the block, go here and then align. You see self-align. We should have self-align somewhere. Self-align, self-align. Go to layout. All right. But before we even do self-align, we need to make this absolute position. So absolute. And then when you do absolute position, you click over here where they have the bottom, and then click on 0. So it will move the position of this block. It will move it down below. All right, and that is good. Make sure that this very one has a Z index of probably 5. And then inside, we are going to have a div. So this div is going to have, so click on our div. Inside our div, we want to have a width of 1170. Click on our container, go back to content, and make sure that everything is centered. So this one is also centered. The next thing to do is to make sure that our new div container, let me put this on top of that. Our new div container has a style, and then the height is in percentage. Make sure our height is 100%, and then give it a Z index 5. So that should be good. All right, so this block shouldn't be in this container. It should be in the section. All right, so I don't want to give a Z index of this because the container is going to be on top of it. All right, so that's our block. For that, the next thing that we're going to do is we have this in here. We're going to duplicate this block again. But this time, we have what we have over here, which is 705 by 472. So make sure 472 for the height of that block, and then 705. Okay, so it's already in absolute position. We're going to remove this and then make sure that to the right is a 0. And we're going to shift it a bit to what we can do is to put it inside this container and then give it, well, we can just leave it outside. We can leave it outside here and then give it a pixel, probably a percentage of, let's say 50%. 50% is too much. 15. You can have it right there. And then let's save. So now we are ready to put in our content in our div. All right, so the content that we have here is this. So within this div, we're going to have two divs. So div number 1, and then just duplicate that div. And then this div is going to contain what we have over here, but it's just a text that is similar to that. So just paste it in here. Go into our content, copy that. Then click on this, go to content, and then paste this in there. Make sure that the div is 470. So click on this div, go to style, make sure that the width is 470 like that. And then we're going to add a button. All right, so still selecting this div, click on this and then look for a button. So let's type in button, add one. All right, so we have our button over here. Our button has a gradient. So what we're going to do is select our button and then go to, we're already on the style, go to gradient and then choose background. And then in the background, you want to start adding colors. So this color, and add another color for this. All right, we want to change the angle to 90%. Then we want to change the text over here to this text, which is all review. Go to content and then change the text. Make sure that the text is 16. So go to style and then change this one to a white, 16. And then the font weight should be 400. That should be good. For our button, you can see that we have 36 on the side and 15. All right, so let's try and lay out this style. And then in layout, you want to give this 15 and 36. 15, apply it to all. And then I'm just going to give this 36 and 36. It has a radius of 8 pixels. So let's go, let's minimize this and then go to border. And then in border, you want to change the radius to 8 pixels like that. So now we have a radius of 8 pixels for this. So that's the first thing. The next thing that we're going to do is to lay out this testimonial that we have. I'm going to use blocks to do that. So make sure that we have this selected. And then for blocks, so this is our first block. And then inside the block, we want to make sure that we have the width is 370 by 414. So click on that, go to layout, and then 370, and then height is 414. Okay, that should be good. Minimize that. This one has a radius, but I don't think the radius is showing up over here. So I'm going to give it go back to border And then for radius, I'm going to give it 8 radius. Change the color of the background to a white. It has also shadows on it. So go back over here and then click on shadow. Go back to our Figma design. Okay, radius is 12. So let me fix that. Radius is 12. Okay, so 0, 18, 46, 0. So here, above shadow, 0, 18, 46, 0. And then our color is going to be this very color. So click on color and then paste in what we have here, which is that. As you can see, we want, say 8%. Click on that. Sorry, 8%. Where's 8%? Oh, for our color. Sorry. So make sure that our color is 8% is 0.8. All right, so that is 8%. All right, so we've designed our very first. That this one have, make sure that this thing is 0 all around. We really don't want to see any border like that. All right, so we have that layout. The next thing is to click, make sure that it's clicked, and then go to add. We want to add the content of this. All right, so there's something here that you might want to know. So Bricks has a loop builder. The reason why I'm not using the loop builder to build the testimonial is because the testimonial is static. It's not like people are going to keep adding the testimonials, as it's a static testimonial, so there's no need to create a repeat and other stuff like that. You can just make one simple block, duplicate it, and then add the content. So that's why I'm not using the repeater. But there's a repeater that can be used for this, but I'm not going to use that. So we have our block selected. We're going to start adding what we need. We need an image, so add an image. So here we need a div, and then inside we need a text, so a basic text, and then we need another div. All right, so within this div, we're going to have our stars. So let's go over here and then type in icons, and then click on that, and then select, make sure we select our icon, and then we're going to change this one to, and then type in star, and then choose the very first one. All right, there should be a 22, and then change the color to this yellow. What we're going to do is just duplicate, 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 duplicate. Click on our div, make sure that this is in flex mode, and it's lined like that. Is there spacing in between there? 6. So we're going to click on this and give it a 6 pixel for the spacing in between. Let's click on our image, and then let's select this image that we have. That's nice. Text, let's copy this text and then paste it over there. Make sure that we have the right, so 600 and 500. So go back to style. So you can use, probably can use a class to do this if you want to, but I'm not using a class now. So 500 like that. That should be good. All right, that's good. So over here, we need to, this is grouped together. So copy that. And then in here, you want to add a heading. And then you want to add a basic text. So for the heading, we're going to put this name there. And then for the style, we can change this one to, paragraph, but because it's a heading. But let's say change content here. Do we have, okay, I think I didn't make that for that. But it should be 18. Why does it have so much space around it? And line height. Oh, because I did that. All right. Line height should be so line height should be 30 pixels. 30 pixels. That's nice. And then the text here is UI UX designer. Change the content to UI UX designer. Make sure you have the right font. That's a 14400. So style. Go into a 14, and then you want to change this one to a 400. All right. So click on this div. Let's give it spacing in between. Yeah, there's no spacing in between there. All right. So there's our block. Select the block and then go to content. You want to make sure we give this, let's say, space evenly, space in between. Let's put it center right, and then let's give it 20 for spacing, and then let's go to style, and then in layout we're going to give this right of 20 and then left of 20. All right, so that should be good for this. We're just going to duplicate that. Duplicate. Inside this div, I'm going to go back to content, make this flex, nicely like that. Click back on it. Make sure that you can give it row of, all right, not row, I made a mistake. Column of, you don't really have to do that. What we can do is just space in between. Yeah, in between like that, nicely. All right, so we have this done. We have also this laid out. So this container, I'm going to give it, make this flex, make this into that. And then for this, I'm going to give it 40 pixels for the spacing. That should be good. We can move this to the right, but I don't think for design wise it's necessary because we are not doing any slide over here. Inside this, the tab div, I'm going to make sure this also flex and then give it 20 pixel like that. So for this very one, let's go to length 77 here. Okay, 149. All right, that should be good. 151 should be okay to handle that. All right, so that is how you build. One thing that we haven't done, so this very one. Okay, so this one, which is the one at the top. So let me make sure so that I put it at the top so I can see it. We're gonna give it let's go to border and then let's select that. Is it showing the border radius? It is not, right? It's not showing the border radius. Border radius. All right, the radius is not showing, so I'm just gonna go in and give it a radius that I think will fit. Say 15. Okay, 15 should be nice. And then I'm going to remove that and make sure that the bottom is 0. So we have that same kind of effect. All right, so the color, we want to fix the color. So the color over here shouldn't be a gradient. It should just be a normal color like this. So let's save it. All right, as you can see, there's some spacing over here. So what I'm going to do is to make sure that I move this a bit. So go back into layout, and then for 15, I'm going to say 17 is okay. All right, so you don't see that. All right, so that is how you create this. It looks kind of complex, but if you break it down, you are able to like do it more easily like that. So let's make this last section that we have. Go back and then close the section and add a new section. So that's a section. So text is normally just like this. Paste it, copy that, paste it. All right. Make sure this is, and then content. Put this over there. So copy that. And then put this over here. All right. So everything in this container should be centered. We're going to add another div inside where we can put our images. So within this, I want to put 2 images. So image number 1, and just duplicate. Click on the div, make sure it's flex. Select this image, and then put the Android logo, and then you put the Apple logo. All right. So within this div, I want to give it 20 space in between. And then within this main container, I also want to give this so 20 in between like that. All right, that should be good. Now we're going to give it a spacing top and bottom. So click on the section, go to style, and then for pattern top, you have a 90. And then for pattern bottom, you have a 90. Color. So we're going to go to background color and then select, what color is this? 26. Select this 26. Go back to our header because our color is wrong. Change this one to white. This one to also to white. Next thing we're going to do is to give this a width of 470. Go back to typography, center it, click on heading, give this also 470. Go back to typography and then center it. All right, so that is good. The next thing that we're going to do is to give it that gradient effects. So if you remember the last one that we did, we're just going to go in there and then just copy them. We don't have to redo them all over again. So this, duplicate that, and then just put it inside that. Duplicate this too. Just put it inside that. All right, so 2 blocks like that. So what we're going to do is to click on this and then go to the layout, remove that, and then what we're going to do is to click on this section, make sure that everything is centered in the middle, and then click on the block, go back to style, position absolute. So you want it to be from the left. So which one is from the left? I think, okay, so the green is on the right. So we're going to remove this and then give it a 0 on the right. Click on this and also remove that and then give it a 0 on the left. Right, then we can move it a bit, like 10 not pixel, percentage. Okay, 10% is good. Click on this and then to the right, 10% is good. All right, so that is good for what we've done here. Yeah, we can bring it a bit closer, probably 15, and then click on that and then give this one also a 15. Bring it a bit more closer, but that is how you do that. So we design wise, like when it comes to design, we absolutely done for the main, like the main part of the website. We are done with the design wise. So I don't know how you feel about this, but whether you're using bricks or whatever tool that you're using, you should be able to create the design that you need, as long as your builder has a div, it has images, it has icons, it has text, background colors, and other stuff like that. You should be able to lay out things anyhow that you want. Absolutely position some of them to give you the effect and the feel that you want, and you should be able to go from there. Next thing that we're going to do is to create the footer, and after that we should call this a day. So go back and then let's go into our WordPress dashboard. Go to bricks and then go to template. So we're going to add new, call this main footer, and then you can publish it and call this a footer. Just update that. All right, so within the footer, we so let's add a section, right? And then within that section, we have two two containers. So there's the main container, and then within that main container, is there a column? Okay, there's nothing called columns. But you can add columns from some other way, but we're not going to do that. Let's add divs, right? Let's add divs. So we're going to add 4 divs. So div number 1, div number 2, div number 3, and then div number 4. Click on our container. Make sure it is rolled down like that. Then we can start giving this divs sizes. Okay, this is 152. Go to style. Go to layout. 152. Next one is 80, 75. So this 80. So click on this div, 80. Click on this div, 75. Click on the last one, 452. So 452 for that. All right. So we selected our container. What I'm going to do is go back to content, make sure that this is space in between like that. Okay, and that should be good. Next thing I'm going to do is to start adding. Okay, we need another container. Go back here and then click container. Okay, I don't want the container to be in here, so delete. Click on the section, and then we add a container within that section. So that should be a container, and then this container should have a width of 100%. Background color of this blue, and then let's add it just a basic text. Okay, 2828. So I'm going to click on the container again, go to layout, top 28, bottom 28. Go back to content and then center this, put this in the middle too. All right, so we click on our text. What we need is this. So over here, we're going to paste in this. And then we're going to remove, click on this, and then click on dynamic. You want to find current date. Okay, so current date is what we're going to use to pull the year that we have for today. So you click over here, since we need only the year, you give it a column like that and then put in a Y. Go to style, typography, and then change this one to that. So that is correct. So that one to that, and then let's change this one to OB Studios. Give this a space. Save that. All right, I'm going to go back into our builder, save this, and then I'm going to refresh. All right, so you can see that the year is now showing up over here. We don't want space. There's a space between that. We don't want any space here. So I'm going to save that and then refresh this again. All right, so we have this nicely laid out. Let's finish with setting up everything that we have in here. So go back to our design and go to our footer. All right, so this first container, we need this logo and then 2 texts. All right, so we need an image. So image and then 2 texts. So this image is going to be for a logo. Choose this logo again. And then for the text, I'm going to put in no. Oh, you can just put in will be studios@gmail.com. Then, all right, I think this is too big. So let's put in like no gmail.com and then click on this. And then here you can just say curly bracket 123 space 450 dash, just like that. All right, so we have that done. Click on this div and then make it flex. this way, and then you want to give it 20 pixels like that. So you want to click on this to flex this way, and yeah, you're going to give 20 pixel. Click on this to flex vertical, yeah, and then give it like a 20. So I'm going to click here, give it a flex, and then vertical, and then give it a 22. All right, so that is that. So the first one is done. The second one, which is this, has these later. So we need a text and then a list. All right, so go over here and then look for add a basic heading, and then look for a list. All right, I think I'm just going to duplicate this later on. I'm going to remove this and then just duplicate. I'm going to duplicate this one later on. So the text over here should be sites map. All right, that should be good. And then the list over here, I'm going to duplicate the go to separator, disable the separator, and then go to items and then remove this. So what we have here is feature, product, resources, pricing, mention. So features, duplicate that, pricing, product. All right, no pricing. So resource. Oh, there's pricing. Now look at that. And then merchant. But as you can see, so this is how you do that. You don't have to. So next one, I'm not going to type in everything because it's just too much work. Let's go to styling and let's change this 18600. So let's change this one to 18. This should be, and then the 600. Yep. And then line height, you can do a 30 pixel. So just like that, that should be fine. All right, that is good. And then for this, okay, so title, which is what we're using now, has what color? Okay, the 67. So this color, I think it's 14. Is it 14? That is 16. So that is 16, and that's a span. So that's a span. All right, that should be good for that. So I'm just going to duplicate that. Change that to socials. Click on this list. The items over here. Think Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and then link and delete the last one. All right, that should be good. The next thing that we're going to do is do this. So heading text, and then this text, and then this. All right, so let's do a heading text. So this is a heading text, a basic text. I'm going to add a div, and then make this one into flex, add a heading text, and then a form. I'm not going to make a new form. I'm just going to go in here. Okay, I have to set the conditions. for remove this set conditions to okay. Right. Just yeah. So the styling went away, so I just had to quickly fix that. But I'm gonna copy this and then paste it inside that. All right, cool. Go back. You have to also set our style over here, theme and bricks, like that, and then make sure that our condition. Yeah, you can leave that, and then save it. All right, so over here, just I'm gonna finish. So we have subscribe instead of. So for the form, we have the submit. Change this one to subscribe. Hey, if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, you can definitely do that. Right, so 15 top, 15 bottom. All right, so let's click on this form and then go to the field and this 15 top. All right, and I'm just gonna leave it as 18 because I don't have to do the whole design again. All right, make sure, okay, this is good. But this one is too big. Oh, leave it like that. Probably leave it like that. All right, so let's do this whole thing. So this is 16. So the placeholder text here is 16. The background for the field I believe it's empty. All right, that is fine. All right, that should work. Then this one should be news letter, like that. Change this one, the style to typography to an 18. Make sure that the line height is 30 pixels. You can just duplicate that and then put it over here. Then you can remove that. Or you can just comment. I'm just gonna go in here and then just paste it so that it's small. Change this one to head office. So head office. So that should be good. Our text over here is this 325. So click on this text. Go to layout and then put this on 325. Right, that should be good. So newsletter text, everything seems to be on point. All right, next I'm going to do is to click on that and then give it a top of 50. The reason why I'm doing that is over here you can see there's a big space over here that they have. I'll probably not imagine, probably a pattern should be good. All right, let's save this and then let me refresh that. Go to the bottom. That should be good. Okay, the margin is 100. I'm just gonna do that for 100 margin because it's the bottom. We want a bit more separation between those two items. All right, so let's preview this. So this, okay, I think I moved one. Don't jinx it. Go back to our design. Let's collapse this. I'm gonna open this. All right, I think I might have done something wrong with the position. Go back to layout. All right, so background, give this a green. Go back to layout, make sure that it is at the bottom, so 0, and then it is 15% to the right, probably 25% to the right. All right, that's good. The index of 0. This one has the index of 5. One more thing I want to do is fix what is here. Close that. All right. Apart from that, I think this is good. We have our design. Things look pretty nice. I really love how this is looking. So over here, we might want to also deal with the spacing here because it doesn't look okay. It's 90, but it doesn't even look like 90 on the front. I want a bit more spacing in between that. So let me give this a 120. Save. All right, that I think that is good. That is really good. All right, so this is from Figma. Let me show you the Figma file again. This is our Figma design that we were able to do in WordPress using a tool called Bricks. So if you have a Bricks license, or if you're looking into which page builder that you should use, Bricks is one that you can also think about. Bricks is pretty cheap. Bricks is, I think, $190 something for the whole for a lifetime license. You buy it one time and then you keep using it until probably the product dies out. So that is the price now. So if you're looking for something that is also affordable and can do the things that you want it to do, you can consider Bricks Page Builder. Yeah, so that is that for all those who love Bricks. Those who really asked me about using Bricks, as I just showed you, using Bricks is not as daunting as it should be. There are some things that I really do not like the form builder and how it looks like. That you have to go all the way back into the theme builder and you have to fix stuff. And then when you get into the theme builder, you also have to apply it to a page or something. It makes it too much work. It really gives me, it puts me into a state that I have to do too much to achieve something that I could easily do without having to maneuver through a lot of hoops. But apart from that, nothing else is really nothing else is really daunting. The new section and containers, I don't really know why they have plenty of this, but you can use them accordingly as you want without having to overthink it, because you can use sections for what sections are, and then inside sections you can use containers, or you don't have to use containers. You can just use divs. But sometimes there are things that you cannot do with the divs that you can do with a container. So you just have to know where the sweet spot is and what you want to use for the design that you are doing. I loved the whole design process. It was really nice. I was able to do some things that I haven't seen done with Bricks before, by especially in these two things, and then creating something as complex as doing this layout over here. So for me, I enjoyed building with Bricks. So if you're looking for a tool that you want to build it, you can also try Bricks as a builder. If you like what we're doing on this channel, you can really subscribe and push the channel up, and then you can also like this YouTube video so that YouTube will keep showing it to other people who are interested in Bricks or who are looking for a page builder. If you haven't joined our Facebook group, the group is new. Right now we have a few people who have joined. So if you're looking to join, there will be a link down below that you can click on, that you can join our Facebook group. As always, my name is Nyako. Thank you for watching the video from OB Studios.